All right, looks like we're talking about TikTok today, and it's a little bit ironic that I'm talking about TikTok because I literally just launched my page just like not too long ago. So if you guys could go and watch it, that would be lovely. And over on my TikTok, I just basically do these videos, but condensed down to a minute on usually topics that nobody really cares about, and you get to see my lovely expressions while I do it. So I please encourage you to go check out my TikTok down below or in my link tree, whatever suits your fancy. Now, anyways, speaking of TikTok, what I want to talk about is that last year there was a thing going around where the US Congress was trying to get it banned, and even in Montana they banned it. They banned it from the App Store, so users can't download it in the state of Montana. And now here we go that the U.S. Congress wants to push it forward. And there's a lot of talks about this because we did see the Congress hearing about TikTok, and the guy who was literally in the middle of it was getting bombarded with questions and didn't have a chance to answer all that stuff. And a lot of people didn't like the way the questioning was worded, and a lot of people didn't like the way they were asking questions, just because when you watch it yourself, and I'll play you guys a couple of clips from this, it's just like the questions that were asked were not really the right questions. You know what I mean? So there was a lot of it was like out of touch people trying to ask modern questions. It just doesn't work that way.
ByteDance is not owned or controlled by the Chinese government. It's a private company.
Mr. Chu, has ByteDance spied on Americans at the direction of the Chinese Communist Party?
No,
Has ByteDance spied on American citizens?
I don't think the spying is the right way to describe it.
All right.
This is, we're committed to be very transparent with our users about what we collect. I don't believe what we collect is more than most players in the
My problem here is you're trying to give the impression that you're going to move away from Beijing and the Communist Party. You're trying to give the impression that you're a good actor. But the commitments that we would seek to achieve those goals are not being made today.
I have seen no evidence that the Chinese government has access to that data. They have never asked us. We have not provided.
Well, you know what? I find that actually preposterous.
You couldn't take action after 41 days when a clear threat, a very violent threat to the chairwoman of this committee and the members of this committee was posted on your platform. You damn well know that you cannot protect the data and security of this committee or the 150 million users of your app.
The algorithm drives a great user experience for many, many users. Yes, there are some bad actors who come in and post violative content, and it's our job to remove them. But the overwhelming experience is a very positive one.
You have not given straightforward answers. We don't find you credible on these things.
That's really what I want to take a look at. And now, so we're going to look at this article, which goes a bit more into it, and we can actually, talk about it. And I actually want to show you guys what, at least according to TikTok, what they actually do with your information. Of course, we're not going to go through the whole privacy policy on TikTok. I'm just going to go through some key points that I really think that you should keep in mind. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, Washington. A renewed push targeting TikTok is gaining momentum on Capitol Hill, where several previous efforts to ban the widely popular video sharing app over concerns about its parent company's ties to China have stalled in the past. Owned by the Chinese-based company ByteDance, TikTok is one of the most widely used apps in the US, with more than 150 million monthly users. Its meteoric rise over the past several years has been accompanied by warnings from national security officials and lawmakers that China's communist government could gain access to its vast trove of data and use that information to spy on Americans. While previous proposals to ban the app have largely stalled or run into legal issues, the latest push seems to be gaining steam among lawmakers in the White House, and here's what to do about the legislation. I also believe that TikTok was banned for government officials, which actually makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because when you're a government official, there's stuff that you have access to that people should not be having access to at all. And so when you break it down, you kind of see that even your phone, there's a lot of like alleged allegations and stuff, or like stuff where like, hey, your phone is listening to you talk, and it's not a coincidence that you might talk about a topic and then you get ads about it the next day. It's not a coincidence. Or even just coming down to what you're searching up gets tracked down. And that's what you have to keep in mind. So I'm actually not really against it being banned for government officials, but when it comes to the greater population, it's a bit more messy. But anyways, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the legal implications of that. I just know that it gets a bit messier once you start getting into the general population because lots of factors that you can't account for. Now, what is the new TikTok bill and what would it do? The 12-page bill known as the Protector Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Application Act aims to protect the national security of the United States from the threat posed by foreign adversary controlled applications like TikTok. If passed and signed into law, it would make it illegal to distribute apps developed by ByteDance, its subsidiaries, and other firms controlled by a foreign adversary, unless the company offloads the app within 180 days. In effect, the bill would give ByteDance a choice. Either sell TikTok before the 6-month deadline or retain control and be banned from US app stores and web hosting services. Rep. Mike Gallagher, a Wisconsin Republican who leads the House Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party, said Wednesday that the new bill would alleviate national security concerns while protecting Americans' free speech rights. Yeah, I don't think that ByteDance is just going to casually sell TikTok just like that to another company. And hell, if it gets sold to another Chinese company, you're going to run into the same problem because you're trying to essentially stop China from spying on your citizens in this whole cyber warfare. But then here you are talking about selling it, and yeah, no. I don't think you guys, well, actually, no. I'm sure, actually, no. You guys definitely understand how much money and how much, like, I don't even want to say, like, not aura, but like how much presence TikTok really has on the online space. If you ever notice, short form content has literally taken over everywhere. That's why you now have YouTube Shorts. Years ago, we had what? We had Vine? Those videos were literally 7 seconds long, or at least supposed to be 7 seconds long. Some got a bit over, but you get the point. Short form content literally is the way to go, especially nowadays. And if you want to make it as like an influencer or whatever, short form content will help you in unimaginable ways. And now add this to how much money that there's probably purchases that are made off of TikTok. And yeah, there's no chance ByteDance is going to do this. So while this is an ultimatum, I'm sure there's still some other stuff that is a little bit you know, just Anyways, let's continue. If you value your personal freedom and privacy online, if you care about Americans' national security at home, and yes, even if you want TikTok to stick around in the United States, the bill offers the only real step toward each of those goals, said Gallagher, who introduced the bill with Illinois Rep. Raja Krishnamurthy. Sorry, I butchered the crap out of that name. The top Democrat on the China committee. Gallagher said it provides the only path for the app to continue its operations in the United States without threatening Americans' online freedom, privacy, and security. Rep. Kathy McMorris Rogers, who led the Energy Commerce Committee, said Thursday's markup that the bill does not give the current or future administrations a blank check or to ban whatever apps they want. The threat to national security must be well documented, the public must be notified, and the information must be present to Congress, at which the point the president may make a determination that a foreign adversary controlled application must be divested or face prohibition in the United States. The Washington Republican said this prohibition can only be applied to applications controlled by foreign adversaries. So essentially, any app that is not American made is going to be pushed out the door. And while in theory that doesn't sound too bad, it's just like, it's all about who you give your information to. Because while there's like, it's almost like you're trading off who's the lesser devil in this case. Like, you give it to Lucifer, you give it to what? Beelzebub. It's like, they both are going to do stuff with your information regardless. So it's a matter of who it gives it to, or who you give it to. And then you have the United States just like, well, we want it banned by, we don't want people like Chinese people spying on the Chinese government spying on our people. And that's a very valid concern for national security, because who knows how much, since we mentioned it earlier, 150 million people getting, how much information, or 150 million users, how much information is getting siphoned, like day in and day out, like they are getting a lot. And some people aren't as aware with their information as others. So while some people will say yes to every single thing that TikTok asks you when it comes to giving out your information, sometimes there's stuff that doesn't need to be given. Like, you don't need to give out your contacts. You don't need to give out all like the tracking data. At least on iPhone, I know it does that. I don't know about Androids. You don't need to give all that stuff. So now They're taking all that, and who knows how many more targeted ads they're going to put on you. But in this case, it's all about national security and, like, yeah, that stuff. This isn't about using it for advertisements. You know what I mean? Now, on to the big question. Why does Congress want to ban TikTok? While we have been talking about why it's going to be banned, let's get a more official statement. Lawmakers from both parties have repeatedly expressed concerns that TikTok could be forced to hand over the data it collects on millions of Americans users to the Chinese government, which could in turn use it for espionage purposes. They have also warned the app could be used to spread propaganda, misinformation. America's foremost adversary has no business controlling a dominant media platform in the United States. TikTok's time in the United States is over unless it ends its relationship with the CCP-controlled ByteDance, Gallagher said in a statement announcing the legislation, referring to the Chinese Communist Party. TikTok has denied that it shares information with the Chinese government, though its CEO acknowledged to Congress last year that TikTok had collected location data on US users in the past, and said some historical data was still stored in servers that could be accessed by engineers from ByteDance. US officials have said that Chinese law requires the company, which is based in Beijing, to make the app's data available to the CCP. Then President Donald Trump signed an executive order in 2020 that would have blocked the app in the US. ByteDance reached an agreement with Oracle and Walmart to form a US-based company to evade the ban, but those plans and Trump's order were put on hold during an ensuing legal battle. Shortly after, President Biden took office in 2021. He revoked Trump's executive order so his administration could conduct its own security review. They renewed push by lawmakers to force ByteDance to sell has attracted a range of co-sponsors across the political spectrum. Jesus, I actually cannot read. Oh my god. Woo! Oh man. Trying to read this stuff. Oh, my brain is frying. Blah. Rep. Elise Stefanik of New York, the chair of the House Republican Conference, said that the app is communist Chinese malware that is poisoning the minds of our next generation and giving the CCP unfettered access to troves of Americans' data. Democratic Rep. Seth Moulton of Massachusetts said that ensuring that foreign adversaries do not have the ability to control what we see and hear online is an important piece of what should be a bipartisan effort to make social media safer for all Americans. Okay, I'm actually going to more or less stop it here. There's a lot to go through, and this is probably something that would require me to drop like a half an hour video or something on this, because there's a lot to it. And I was gonna go over the actual legal documentation with you guys, but I am not a lawyer, and I don't think law gives you a lot of context. So I'll actually link the bill below if you guys want to check it out, and any other sources that I've used. You guys can also look into it as well on your own time, because wow, it's a lot. Now, of course, before we go into TikTok's privacy policy, we're actually going to look at what they were saying about it. So here's a screenshot where it says TikTok showing "Stop a TikTok shutdown. Congress is planning a total ban of TikTok. Speak up now before your government strips 170 million Americans of their constitutional right to free expression. This will damage millions of businesses, destroy the livelihoods of countless creators across the country, and deny artists an audience. Let Congress know what TikTok means for you. Tell them to vote no." So now we're going to look into the TikTok privacy policy, because you need to understand, and most people don't read this stuff. I don't read it either, but just for the purpose of this video, I needed to look into it a bit more. And so let's look at what kind of information they collect, how they're going to use it, and how they share it. And yeah, that's really where we're going to look at. Those are the big points I want to go over, and hopefully that you guys also understand. However, there's also a lot in this policy, so I'm not going to read all of it to you, so it'll be linked down below if you're interested in reading up on it. So what information we collect? So some of the information that they have is, of course, your profile, your user content, the messages you send, your purchase information, phone and social network contacts, and proof of your identity or age. This stuff is pretty standard that they have to keep, just because, well, they want to know who's going in and out of their websites, who's ban evading, all that stuff. So that's pretty standard for the most part. Every single site does this. Of course, every single place where you have to register for a service does that. And that's where we are. How we use your information? Well, first, they personalize your content, fulfill products, services, platform functionality, and to train algorithms. Now, we've known this for a very long time. That's why if you ever see someone who uploads like 4 times a day, that's literally so that the algorithm can pick up and be like, well, okay, this person uploads a lot and I see them, you watch them a lot, so we're going to check them out for you, or we're going to recommend them to you. And that's the same policy advice like I said earlier, where you have like, you'll be talking to somebody, then, oh, what's this coincidence? I'm being recommended, I don't know, beach balls. And how we share your information. So 1, business partners. If you choose to register to use the platform using your social media account details, you will provide us or allow your social network to provide us with your phone number, email address, username, and public profile. And yeah, so basically if you sign up with Google, any information that you have with Google is going to be siphoned through this system as well. So anyone who's done that, literally same old dance over here. Service providers, so independent researchers, and of course corporate group. And I want you guys to pay attention to corporate group just because, well, over here you see that it's ByteDance who owns it. And as you've heard earlier, ByteDance is the one who pretty much has information and that you have to hand over to the Chinese government. So it's all, of course, this is written very specifically so that there's no legal trouble, but you get the point that everybody literally is no one's safe. Nobody is safe. And so with how careless people are with their information, it kind of makes sense. So anyways, what do I think about all this? Protect your information like it's your lifeline, because at the end of the day, a lot of these companies are always going to use you for their own benefit. Whether you work for them, whether you're just a consumer, they're all going to move in their own benefit. So the only leverage you really have against them, even though you have to give your information, is like, yeah, stuff that you don't need to share, like don't share it. That's all I can really say to this. And even when it comes to the government, it's like the Chinese government is going to move in its own interest and the U.S. is going to move in its own interest as well. And it's been documented many times that some of these government officials, actually no, probably 99% don't care about you. My opinion is very simple. I think it's kind of wild if this gets banned, because you'll have a lot of businesses that will suffer from it, and people literally having their livelihoods getting deprived. So this is why I said that when it comes to the general population, it gets extremely messy very fast. Just because, well, yeah, you have all these people using an app, lots of businesses are getting lots of revenue off of it, and then all of a sudden, it's cut off one day. So it's a lot to take in. But anyways, really find a way to use VPNs, use whatever you can. And I would say consult anyone who knows their cybersecurity, because it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. But with all that being said, if you enjoyed this video or you enjoyed this little information dump, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my socials down in the description below. And make sure you go and follow my TikTok. It's great. Ciao for now.